It's all about the boot, isn't it? If you've seen the movie Toy Story, you know the character Woody, and you know that he had a fancy cowboy boot, and on the sole of that boot were four letters, A, and then a backwards N, and a D, and a Y, because Andy was the name of the owner of Woody. And this is really what the whole movie series is about, trying to figure out how as Andy grows up and the relationship between a boy and his toy Woody, how that changes over time. But finally, that the name on the boot it's a symbol of a relationship that just can't be broken. As the Apostle Paul talks to his fellow Christians in Corinth about the relationship that they have with the Lord, he talks about a number of different pictures that Christians should have in mind. One of them, for example, is anointed, that Christians have been anointed by God. Now, to anoint means to get oil poured on your head. That might cause Christians to wonder, okay, what exactly is that referring to? Well, in the Old Testament, they would pour oil on the heads of prophets, priests, and kings. And when they did it, that would indicate that a person was set apart for this special job. So for Paul to say that you as a Christian have been anointed, it is to say that God has set you apart for a special task, for a special position. Paul also talks about how we have received the deposit of the Holy Spirit. That like a guarantee, like you make a deposit on a house, and that indicates that you intend ultimately to pay the full price or something like that. That the Holy Spirit in your heart, the fact that God has made his home in you, the fact that he has blessed you with the gift of saving faith, that all of the joy that comes along with that is just a foretaste of the heavenly glory that will blow our minds. In addition to being anointed and having been given this down payment of the Holy Spirit, the Apostle Paul talks about the ongoing work of God to strengthen us, that he is repeatedly over time, day by day, making us stronger, that as we sense our own weakness and we know the struggle we have against our sinful flesh, that the Lord is strengthening us to fight the devil, the world, and our flesh with his powerful word, as he blesses us through the giving of his body and blood in the Lord's Supper, which reminds us of our relationship with him, that we have been forgiven, as he reminds us of our baptisms, where he made us his own children. He is strengthening us. But there is one more word. God sealed us. Now, when you think of sealing, you might think of an envelope where, like at least in the old days, you had to lick them. Now you can just pull off the strip and its adhesive is automatically ready to roll. But when you think of a seal, you think of sealing something shut, right? Well, the concept of sealing, as the Bible uses that term, has everything to do with what an ancient king would do when he has a letter and then puts wax over it, or a little scroll and puts wax over it to keep it tightly shut, and then puts his seal, his royal seal on the wax to indicate that this is from him. This is a letter that comes from him and him alone. God says that as he brought you into his family, he put his seal on you. He put his name on your boot. On you, he wrote G-O-D. How important is that? You belong to him. And if you ever feel unwanted, not valuable, not appreciated, if you ever feel lost and alone, I don't know if thinking of Toy Story is the best place to start, but thinking about Paul's words to the Corinthians is a perfect place to start. That God has put his name on you. You belong to him through Jesus' sacrifice for you, forgiven. You belong to your Lord. and there is nothing more that you need to know to be at peace. You're His, not Andy's, but the Lord's.